Okay, I have to ask you something right off the bat, because this happened to me yesterday, and I'm still kind of thinking about it. Have you ever been just sitting on your couch, totally relaxed, and suddenly your wrist starts vibrating like you've got 10 seconds to defuse a bomb?
Oh, all the time. The phantom buzz, or,
Mhm.
the real buzz. The one that tells you with like extreme urgency that your heart rate just changed by 1 beat per minute.
Right. And you look at this little thing on your wrist, and you just think, buddy, I am calmer than you are. It really feels like the technology is having a panic attack, and I'm just trying to drink my coffee.
It's just a classic modern experience, isn't it? We have these incredible sensors strapped to our bodies, but the whole relationship often feels, I don't know, a bit high stakes, even when life itself is actually pretty low stakes.
That mismatch is exactly what we're digging into today. That gap between, a chill Sunday morning and the frantic energy of our health tech.
Yeah.
We've got this really thought-provoking piece of writing here from the team at FinchQ,
Yeah, it's titled Text. Life is not an emergency.
and I'm so glad we're covering it.
Me too, because it's not just another product review. It reads more like a philosophy, a kind of manifesto. It
Yeah.
really challenges the whole design philosophy of almost every wearable out there.
It really does. It basically just grabs our smartwatches and says, calm down.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Yeah.
But it goes a lot deeper than just, turn off your notifications.
Right. So the mission for this deep dive is to unpack the psychological cost of what they call alert fatigue. We're going to explore this really fascinating distinction they make between supervision and independence.
And that's the key.
Because it turns out having a digital chaperone might actually be making us less confident.
That distinction is everything. The argument isn't that technology is bad. It's that the framing is wrong for how we actually live. It's about moving from crisis management to, I don't know, something steadier.
So let's start where the source starts, reality, which, according to them, is surprisingly, well, boring. In a good way.
It is surprisingly boring. And that's a crucial point. They write that most lives are not lived on the edge of a crisis. Life is routines. It's morning walks. It's grocery trips.
Work days that run a little too long.
Weekends that feel too short.
Ugh, that line really got me.
It resonates, right? Because it's true. The text emphasizes that for most of us, independence isn't this big dramatic thing we're defending every second. It's just the background hum of your life.
Yeah.
You go to the store, you come home. You're not surviving. You're just living.
But then, and this is the friction point, then the tech enters the picture.
Exactly. Enter the tech. The source contrasts that quiet reality with the design of our devices. It argues health tech is designed as if danger were always imminent.
Danger everywhere. Alerts, notifications, those little haptic taps. It's like having a very anxious bodyguard who thinks every single shadow is an assassin.
That's a great way to put it. And the source points out this design isn't benign. It's not just annoying, it sends this implicit message to you, the user. Even on a totally normal Tuesday, the device is kind of whispering, something could go wrong at any moment.
Watch out. Be careful. Check your stats. Are you dying? Maybe check again.
And if you hear that enough times, you start to believe it. The text argues that this framing actually reshapes how you experience your own body. It shifts your mindset from one of confidence to one of vigilance.
Vigilance. That's a heavy word. It means you're always on guard.
Always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And you have to ask, do you want to live your life on guard against your own body? Do you want to see your heart as a ticking time bomb?
But let me just play devil's advocate for a second. We buy these things to feel better about our health, right? To feel like we're on top of things. Doesn't knowing all the details give us more awareness?
That's the assumption, yeah. More data means more awareness. But the source argues the exact opposite, and this is where it gets really interesting. They say urgency has a cost.
And what's the cost?
The cost is that your actual awareness starts to blur. They write, when everything asks for immediate attention, awareness begins to blur.
It's just signal noise.
It's just a wall of sound. If a text message gets the same vibration as a high heart rate alert, then, nothing is actually urgent anymore.
So the signals lose their meaning.
Exactly. And instead of understanding, the user just ends up with anxiety. And this leaves this really powerful distinction they make. The constant call to react makes people feel watched rather than supported.
Wait, let's stick with that for a second. Watched rather than supported.
Right.
What's the real difference there?
Well, think about a friend walking next to you on a hike, ready to help if you stumble. That's support.
Okay.
Now imagine a chaperone hovering over your shoulder, just waiting for you to mess up so they can correct you. That's being watched.
Oof. Yeah. I've got your back. versus I don't trust you.
Precisely. And that feeling of being watched creates this low-level stress even when nothing is actually wrong. You start performing health for your watch.
I've definitely felt that. My watch once buzzed to tell me my stress levels were high. And honestly, seeing the notification is what made my stress levels go higher. The tool created the problem it was supposed to measure.
You're not alone in that loop. And that's exactly what the source warns about. It teaches us to doubt what they call normal variation.
Normal variation. So what does that mean in this context?
It's just the biological fact that your body is always changing. You get tired, you get excited, you have an extra coffee. These are just normal ups and downs. But when a device flags every single blip, you start to see ordinary things as a problem.
A crisis that needs to be fixed right now.
Yeah. So you lose touch with what normal actually feels like because you're just waiting for the machine to tell you if you're okay. It's the boy who cried wolf effect, but the wolf is just, walking up a flight of stairs.
Or just existing.
Right. And if you train your brain to treat every little shift as a warning, you erode your ability to just exist comfortably in your own body.
This leads us right to the heart of this, I think. This whole distinction between supervision and independence. And they have this quote that I actually wrote down because it felt like a slap in the face in a good way.
Which one was that?
Supervision implies fragility. Independence assumes capability.
It's a powerful line. It completely flips the marketing narrative on its head.
It really does. Because these things are sold as tools of empowerment, right?
Mm.
But when you hear supervision implies fragility, all those notifications start to feel a little condescending.
It goes back to that chaperone idea. If I feel I need to monitor you every second, I'm basically saying I don't trust you to handle yourself. I'm assuming you're fragile, that without my help, you'll just fail.
And the source says real independence is the exact opposite of that.
Right. Independence is built on confidence. And confidence doesn't come from a dashboard you check every 5 minutes. It comes from familiarity, from knowing how your body feels, how it responds, how it recovers.
It's trusting your own gut.
Yes. The text argues that independence grows when people trust their own judgment, not when they're prompted to check themselves over and over again.
So is it fair to say that tech is almost gaslighting us into thinking we're incompetent at just being human?
Gaslighting is a strong word, but in terms of user experience, it absolutely risks eroding your autonomy. That's the big paradox. The tools are sold as take control of your health, but by leaning so hard on urgency, they erode the very autonomy they claim to protect.
Because you stop asking, how do I feel? And you start asking, what does the app say I feel?
Exactly. By prompting you to check yourself repeatedly, it undermines your internal sense of grounding. You disconnect from your own body.
And that creates that quieter form of unease the source talks about. We're not panicking, but we're not exactly at peace either.
Which brings us to the big question. If this alarm bell approach isn't really safety, if it's just anxiety disguised as data, then what is safety?
And the source has a really beautiful answer for this. It really challenges us to redefine the whole idea.
It does. It says safety does not always arrive with a siren.
I love that line. We're so conditioned to think of safety as the ambulance arriving or the smoke detector going off. But for our bodies, usually safety is, well, it's boring.
Boring is good. The source defines safety as steadiness.
Steadiness. Okay, let's unpack that. What does that look like?
It's the sense that things feel familiar and resilient. It's found in patterns that hold up over time. It's recovery that stays reliable. It's really the absence of surprises.
It's funny because absence of surprises would be a terrible marketing pitch for a gadget.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Buy this watch, nothing will happen.
It is hard to sell nothing. Congratulations, you are the same person you were yesterday. It's not sexy. But in health, nothing is often the goal. That steadiness isn't something you can capture in one notification.
Right. You can't just buzz someone's wrist and say, update, you are still fine, carry on.
Exactly, or just be annoying. But that stability is what matters. The perspective here is that this kind of safety only becomes visible across weeks and months.
So it's a shift in the timescale. The urgent tech is all about the second by second. Heart rate 72, now 74. This steadiness approach is playing the long game.
And that requires a totally different design. You have to move from reacting to every blip to just observing the trend. You have to zoom out.
Okay, so if I'm a listener thinking, I want steadiness, not panic, what does a tool that supports that actually look like? Because I still want the data.
This brings us to their philosophy on calm. The source makes this bold claim. Calm is not a limitation. It is a feature.
That feels radical in the tech world. In a world where everything is trying to grab your eyeballs and gamify your life, arguing for calm as a feature is almost countercultural.
It really is. It's almost anti-engagement. Most apps measure success by how much you look at them. FinchQ seems to be arguing success is how little you look at them.
So what does a tool designed for calm actually do? If it's not buzzing at me, is it just sitting there?
According to the text, a tool for long-term awareness should recede into the background.
It should ghost me.
Not ghost you. But it shouldn't be the main character in your life. It should support reflection, not reaction.
Okay, help me visualize that. So instead of, hey, look at this right now, what's the interaction?
Think of it like a map versus a GPS. A GPS is constantly shouting instructions at you. Turn left, recalculating. It demands you react immediately. That's current tech.
Right.
A map just sits there. It has all the information, but you consult it when you want to see where you've been or where you're going.
So it's context, not commands.
Precisely. It helps you notice gradual shifts. Maybe you see that over the last month, your recovery has been a little slower. That's a trend, not an emergency. It allows you to think, maybe I need more sleep this week. You make that connection instead of panicking over a red exclamation mark.
It treats you like an adult.
It treats you like a sustainable companion. That's the phrase they use.
I like that. Sustainable companion. You can't sustain a relationship with someone who is screaming at you all day. You'd break up with that person.
You absolutely would. And that is the FinchQ approach they're laying out. They say they're for people living normal lives who just want to understand how their independence holds up over time.
And they use 3 words to describe this that really stuck with me. Quietly, respectfully, without urgency.
That trio is so important, especially respectfully. Does your tech respect your peace of mind? Or does it trade your peace for its own engagement metrics?
That's the million-dollar question. It feels like we've traded peace for data points. We thought we were buying control, but really we just bought a nagging feeling on our wrist.
And the argument here is that we don't have to make that trade. We can have the data, we can have the insight, but we can get it in a way that respects the reality that, well, that life is not an emergency.
It's such a refreshing take. So let's bring this back to the listener. You might be wearing a tracker right now. Or maybe you took it off a month ago because it was just driving you crazy.
And if you are, just consider, is that device building your confidence or is it building your vigilance?
Are you the captain of the ship, or are you just waiting for orders from the engine room?
We've gone from the noise of these alarms to realizing that constant alerts can actually erode our confidence and make us feel fragile.
And we've landed on this new vision of safety. That safety isn't dodging bullets, it's about steadiness. It's about resilience.
And recognizing that your independence isn't something you're urgently defending, it's just you living your life.
It's the grocery trip, the morning walk, the boring stuff where life actually happens.
Exactly.
Before we go, I want to leave everyone with a thought that came up while we were reading this. A little challenge for you in your relationship with your tech.
Let's hear it.
Based on this philosophy, ask yourself this. If your health tech went silent for a whole week, no buzzes, no red dots, and only gave you a quiet summary on Sunday, would you feel less safe? Or would you actually feel more like yourself?
That's a profound question. Would the silence feel like a risk, or would it feel like relief?
I have a feeling for a lot of us, if we're honest, it might be relief. And if it is, maybe it's time to adjust those notification settings.
Or look for tools that respect the quiet pulse of your life.
Something to think about on your next quiet, non-emergency morning walk. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
Stay steady, everyone.
See you next time.